That embedded then through does my fucking head in all the time. It just anyway. Here's a bit late to the party because Brian was having problems logging in, so we were going to go without him. Then I logged myself out, so we're here a couple of minutes late. But Brian, over to you.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome along, folks. It's the Women's Show on a Monday evening as usual, and we are here reacting to Rangers 2, Celtic 1 in the Old Firm Sky Sports League Cup semi-final, who we now go on to play against Hibernian in the final after they beat Aberdeen 3-0 comfortably. I'm joined tonight by Wilf and Alan. Wilf, how are we?
Very well. Good day for Rangers yesterday. Carl's joining us just shortly. She's just about to come on as well. So we'll have the four of us on. So yeah, it was a good day yesterday. Good win for the men's first team against the Brock. See you're resplendent in the Brock colours tonight, Brian, as a homage to them.
Navy.
It looks black from here. Okay. But yeah, always great. It'd be great to beat that lot of Tiddly once. You know what I mean? So terrific win yesterday. We won't get into it, but the first half was pretty putrid. Strange one for me, so I was watching it on my phone on the way up the road from Ibrox. I took my missus to the game purely because I needed a driver so I could watch the game on the way home. And that's I told her that, she went, well, that's fine, no problem. So yeah, good day. I mean, I know Alan was there. Alan was over in Hamilton. So yeah, good day, Alan.
Yeah, listen, it was a great day. As I said to Brian on the afternoon ramble, I find it very hard to look forward to these games, but they're absolutely fantastic when you win. And I thought it was a well-deserved win. First half, and we'll go through the game, but it really changed whatever was said at half time. So it's good to see us reacting well and surviving the late pressure. So,
but was that, Alan, a good thing that we've obviously not been doing a lot of, is taking sort of pressure in the last few minutes and coping with it? Because there's been a few occasions where that last few minutes we've really crumbled a couple of times, haven't we?
Oh, definitely. Any time we're actually getting through and surviving, that sort of pressure is a bonus and is a boost to players mentally. They spoke about it after a game. How important that was, something mentally for that. And obviously the way we won the league game there in November or December, that was big. That was a late win after we'd been pulled back twice. So really important, probably the manner in which we won the game. And a poor goal you concede sort of late on the game, it will get to. But it was encouraging that we didn't look too likely to concede after that. Although we obviously withstood a fair bit of pressure, but we really got mucked in. I think the team worked incredibly hard, and I think it got the rewards.
Absolutely. And we are now joined by Car. Car, how are we?
Yeah, I'm alright. I just lost track of time and somehow forgot.
More importantly, Carl, how are you feeling?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a lot better. I seem to be doing okay now, so that's good.
Good. That's good to hear. That's good.
And what did you make of yesterday's events?
It certainly helped make me feel better. Yeah, it was good. Good. I had to watch it on the TV. I wasn't able to go along, but yeah, it was a good watch.
Absolutely. So, of course, yesterday the team lineup read as Essendon goals with Docherty, Eddie and Hill in the defence. We had Hay, Macaulay, Arnott, Cornett, and in the midfield with McLaughlin, Wilkinson and Hardy up front. Wolf, a more familiar setup, a more familiar lineup, and it paid dividends.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the strongest team we could have played. The only surprise for me, if you like, is the fact that we persisted with the three wide players. Obviously, with me not playing wide, but as Demi flagged up last week, in recent bigger games, Joe's left me out of the team. So we both sort of thought, well, not sure if she'll start, but I mean, it seemed to work. With the three wide players, or three naturally wide players, but playing Mia in the park a bit. She seems to have stumbled on something there that works. So, yeah, great to see her go with what was the strongest team. I was a bit concerned of who should play up front, which partnership should play up front. We did say last week we thought it would probably be Wilco and A another. We just weren't sure who the A another was. Sure, it was Alan that said it had to be Rio because Rio loves scoring against them, and it was, and she did. And yeah, I thought Joe got it absolutely spot on.
Absolutely. And of course, as I think it was Cart mentioned in the group chat before the game, Alan, that and he was missing, like not even in the bench. So obviously there's still niggles for her, is there?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the niggle is. The various sort of chat, I don't think it's anything serious. I think Charlie Devlin mentioned he's been there for another 3 or 4 weeks, but again, it's not something the club like to talk about. Is telling us about any injuries, but team lineup, much as we predicted last week on the pod, Kathy came back in for Laura Rafferty and Katie Wilkinson came into the starting team. So I think the biggest sort of positive for me about the starting lineup was that we kept the familiar shape. Obviously, the games before Christmas we spoke about, we tried an inverted type 4-4-2 and it really didn't work. So I'd have been concerned if we'd went to a back four, and changed the system. But this is what works for us. And, we got through the first half and then came out really strong in the second. So I'm delighted with how we lined up.
Yeah, and Cara, we missed Chelsea obviously before. She just arrived back from injury in the league game against Celtic, and then she played the games after. But I dare say that break did the whole squad good, and probably did Chelsea a little bit good as well, because she could have got her match fitness up a little bit better and get more ready for the rigors of 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think so. I think most of them, while they were on their break, a few of them went on holiday, and then you could see on Instagram and whatnot, a lot of them were doing extra bits. Nick, Chelsea, Kirsty Howitt especially, we seem to do one-on-one stuff with other people, which is good. So obviously they've all needed that break, a bit of rest, and come back and fit and firing. It probably helps with a bit of rehab if there was any slight niggles or knocks, just to get everyone back to full fitness. Bit of a break from each other if they needed it, and come back ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, Wolf, as the first half went, there was a couple of things happening, but nothing major. But did you ever feel we weren't in control of the game?
Feel my ear up. Sorry, I was saying to Alan before we went live. It was a strange one for me because I was watching it on my phone, and it's difficult to see what's actually going on because you're concentrating. The pictures are small, and you're concentrating on where the ball is and who's doing what. The BBC Alba commentary certainly doesn't help because obviously I don't speak Gaelic. So I didn't really feel in any danger because I didn't really think we were going to score. I thought the game was very much of a muchness in the first half. There wasn't really a lot going on. There was a few thunderous challenges going in. I mean, I put in the group chat, I thought the referee had done quite well until an incident early in the second half, but I was quickly put right because obviously I wasn't paying that much attention to what she was doing because I was more concentrating on seeing what was actually happening, round about where the ball was. But she certainly let players off with a bit. I mean, I think Nick got away with a couple. Chelsea, from our point of view, Chelsea certainly got away with at least one or two of theirs got away with a few as well. That's before they brought Colette Kavanagh on. You know what I mean? She's just a walking yellow card. But, so it's difficult for me to answer your question to say, how I thought the first half went. I mean, I've watched the highlights, and the highlights really don't have much in there. I mean, the Rangers TV highlights don't even show the foul leading up to the free kick that led to the winner. I mean, they're that short. You know what I mean? It really is strange.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first half seemed to me two teams that were, I wouldn't say nervous to lose, but they knew what was on the line, and I think they were both sort of maybe scared to make that key mistake.
Yeah, it did seem like both teams were a little bit nervous, a bit on edge. It wasn't, the full gung-ho that it normally is, and I don't know if they expected us to come out fully going and then they'd be able to kind of shut us down. But we were just absolutely all over the top of them. There wasn't much they could do. But it did have that air of nobody wanted to make a mistake. And we had chances. They had a couple of chances. And it was just kind of that nervy first half where, other than a few spicy challenges, not all that much happened. But it just needed somebody to kind of step up and take it. Obviously, Mia had a chance that goes just over the bar, takes a shot from distance. They had one that just goes wide of the post. So there was chances, but there wasn't really much in it. And I think at halftime, Joe's obviously said something to them to get them going. And then we came out and it just clicked.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, it's as Wolf saying, the first half, the referee was very lenient. I think is the best word you could describe in that first half. I mean, as you know, the guys have been saying, I think Nick Dock had a couple of challenges. Chelsea, can't remember the Celtic players, that they had a couple of sort of meaty challenges, and the referee was just quite happy to let things flow.
Yeah, and the strange thing was she wasn't even given free kicks. That wasn't even she wasn't pulling the book out. She wasn't even awarding the fouls, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And even some of the decisions going out for throw-ins, the wrong team getting him, and it was crazy. But the first half just struck me. I was crying out for somebody in midfield to put a foot in the ball and just hold on possession for either team, because we were looking a bit shaky at the back under pressure. And anytime we were pressing them, they were looking very uncomfortable. But there was very little in terms of holding on to the ball in midfield, and it was a really scrappy first half because of that. It was just end to end.
Yeah, certainly. And then, of course, Wolf, the half-time came 0-0. The managers obviously get their chance to speak to the players and regroup and reset. And we came out flying in the second half. A corner from us, short corner. I don't like them, but this one worked. And Brogan hits this, I would like to call it a knuckleball sort of cross, where she hits it with no spin, and it just a very difficult ball for any defence or the goalkeeper to come and get. And Rio just nipped in front of them all and put it in the back of the net.
Oh, Brogan just put the ball into where you should put a ball from the sort of positions you had. I mean, it was a short corner from Lizzie, as you say. I mean, I noticed Carl said in another podcast it was sort of off a corner. I'm still taking that as a goal off a corner, because it was obviously a pre-arranged corner move. But yeah, I mean, Lizzie puts it to Brogan, who, by the way, had a fantastic game. Put the ball into. I'm not quite sure if you'd call that the corridor of uncertainty, because the keeper can't really come for it, and the defender's not sure. And for whatever reason, the Celtic defence just stood. I think it might even be Caitlin Hayes just sort of stood there and let Rio nip in. And it was one of them, like you say, there was no spin on it, so all Rio had to do was get any part of her body on it. I mean, as I said, I was coming up the road and the missus was driving the car. I think she nearly crashed the car when I just let out this enormous roar. And she went, "Go on, do that." I says, "Well, we've just scored again." You know what I mean? It's just, and I had no idea if Rio had actually touched it. I just know it was in the net. I couldn't see the initial camera angle. You couldn't see whether Rio had put it in, it had gone in off a defender, it hit the keeper. I just knew it had gone in. It's only when I saw the replay that I noticed that she nipped in front of the static defence. And what's not to like?
No, absolutely not. And then Carr, not long after, a foul by Colette Kavanagh. Well, quite a thunderous tackle, maybe 20, 25 yards outside the goal. Now Lizzie and Wilco stood over it. Were you convinced it was going to be Wilco? And by the way, what a finish.
I didn't know. I was watching it on the TV. I didn't know who was going to take it, because they both kind of did that thing where you step back, and they both kind of took a step forward. So I didn't know until Wilco just did the run up and hit it. But as soon as she hit it, you know that's going in, because she doesn't miss from that kind of angle in that area. The wall didn't do anything. The keeper tries to get to it. There's no chance she's getting to that. But it's a beauty. It's stunning. I think I've watched it about 12 times today, at least. I just keep watching all the angles that Rangers have posted of it, with the bench cam and everything they've posted. I just keep watching it because it's just a beauty. To think we were so comfortable at that point, we're just absolutely flying. It's a stunning goal from her. And I think we've been a bit critical that she's not really shown up in big games. She scored a couple of penalties and she's done some stuff, but altogether not done all that much. But she's certainly shown up now, and she's done that when it really mattered, so can't blame her too much.
Yeah. And obviously we'll have to speak about the incident that flabbergasted pretty much everybody, including the manager, Alan. Ball goes out of the ball. Ball goes out. I believe the manager sort of traps it, flicks it up, and then spins it round her body and drops the ball. The referee then races over as quickly as she could and was straight out with a red card. Now, the refs' view on Twitter, who are very open and blunt with their opinions if things are right or wrong, they couldn't believe that the referee gave a red card for that. As you said in the afternoon pod, something must have been said words-wise, because to do just the actions alone, there's no way on earth you could come to the conclusion that was worthy of a red card.
Oh, there's absolutely no justification from what anybody saw in terms of actions that's worthy any more than than a talking to, if that. But for the way the referees ran over, I'd be very interested to know if words were said and what words were said that actually prompted that, because no doubt it'd have been as tasty as some of the challenges, if a referee's been encouraged to run over. Obviously, with the game being on TV, there was a fourth official, so somebody much closer to the dugouts. Both managers were out, so I don't know if words had been exchanged, but, everybody looked absolutely stunned. Players, fans, the managers, absolutely flabbergasted to see that. So I'd be very, very interested to find out why.
Yeah,
Brian, if you watch it back, right, the fourth official looks flabbergasted when she pulls out a red card. The fourth official, it looks to me as if she's putting her hands out to say no, but by that time the red card's out and she's not going to rescind it. You know what I mean? The game the referee was having, she's not going to rescind it. I mean, the ludicrous thing for me is that she wasn't even stopping Celtic taking a quick throw because it was our throw in. I mean, Joe just flicked the ball up and took it. I mean, I'm giving it to my player. You know what I mean? An absolute ludicrous decision. But if you watch it back, and when they show you, because the camera doesn't catch it at first, and then you show you the replay, and the fourth official looks absolutely flabbergasted, and Joe's trying to plead her case. You know what I mean? And the Rangers substitutes are out, and you see them sort of looking bemused at what's just happened. It's probably the most bizarre sending off I think I've seen this season. Just ludicrous. Absolutely. And I'd love to see the referee's report to see what she put in it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
you
do see
Big Girl hit the ball. You know what I mean? Come on.
I mean, Carr, you do see the fourth official motioning to hit her mic to speak to the referee. You can see that she does communicate with the referee. Now, what that communication is between the fourth official and the referee. But even then, Carr, I mean, I'd be amazed if the club don't appeal this.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense because, as you say, it's our throw-in, so it's not as if she's basically stopping Celtic from time wasting because the lassie's going to get the ball off with Joe and trying to waste time. So I don't understand the point of it. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I couldn't believe it at first. I assumed that she'd shouted at Elena or something before they showed the replay of what had happened because, as well said, you initially didn't see what happened. You just saw the ref giving her the red card. So I said to Laura, she must have shouted something at Elena or said something derogatory or something. Not Joe's not like that, but she must have done something pretty bad to get a straight red card. But then to see that it was literally a keep you up, holding onto the ball to stop the Celtic player getting it and getting a straight red for that is absolutely baffling. It's the weirdest red card I've ever seen.
Thing is, Brian, Joe's been around the block, right? We've all seen Joe at close quarters at games, right?
Yes.
And she's been booked a few times, and she accepts the booking because she knows she's out of order. She looked absolutely horrified.
Yeah.
She just couldn't believe what had just happened to her. You know what I mean? And I think had she said something or done something, Joe would have been, okay, I've been caught and just walked away, because that seems to be the type of character she is when things like that happen. Because I'd like to think she'd expect her team to do that. So she's leading by example in that thing. But she looked absolutely mortified. It's like I say, I'd love to see the referee's report. I mean, Keith makes a good point here. He'd like to think the referee went in and apologised to her after the game. And for that referee, the game she had, I'd like to think so, but I really can't see it.
No. I mean, it beggars belief, but we'll see what the club do, Alan, and we'll see if things get appealed, because I'd like to think that an appeal is forthcoming, because I would hate to think that will stand and she'll miss games because of that bizarre incident, because as everybody's saying, they've never seen a red card like it and it's very bizarre. So anyway, we go on.
If she does miss a game, I think it was again on the Women's Supporters Group podcast. I think it might have been, it was either Alan or Cara. I think that I can't remember. Listening to it earlier on. If she is banned for the next game, right? Does it mean she just stands outside the cafe at Spartans, cup of coffee in hand at the top of the stairs, or does she sit in the stand, which is probably closer than the dugout anyway?
Oh, goodness knows. Goodness knows. It's just a bizarre situation. It really is. But let's hope it's rescinded, and this whole shenanigans and red card can just be put to bed, because it's frankly ridiculous. Anyway, Alan, we concede late on, as we sometimes do. Across from the left, the Celtic player just gets in front of the defence and just nicks in, but it was quick enough to get in front of the goalie. in front of the defenders and just guided it into the net. Poor goal, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And we're always crying out for us to attack the front post when we're attacking, but it's got to apply it back as well. There was too much space at the front post, and Vic had done an absolutely brilliant game. We've not touched on that, and I don't think we did on our podcast, but Vic had done an excellent game in terms of coming, taking pressure off the defence, punching, catching, and she did come off her line for us, but probably started too far back. She's probably too central on the goal, and she's going to come out. Probably needed to attack the front post a wee bit and cut the cross off before it got to Celtic player. But she's got in, she scored the goal, left us a wee bit squeaky bump in the last few minutes of injury time.
Absolutely, but Carr, we just navigated that last few minutes better than we have before, because I think we've all seen games where we've been in the lead and or we've been drawing and we've somehow contrived to lose a goal in injury time and made a mess of things. But as Alan was saying, before you came on, the players were speaking about the mentality and getting through games and managing games better. So it's nice to see that they're doing that now and they're applying that sort of things in games, and they're staying focused even in the 90 plus whatever minute is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps when you can see how much they absolutely hate that lot and want to win these things, because you can tell how much that really does go through the team. But, they could have potentially pulled another one back with 4 minutes left, but it didn't seem like they were up to much. It's basically a carbon copy of Rio's goal, the first goal. She just nicks in front and gets it in the back of the net. It's not all that much that anyone could have done, but it is what it is. And, kept the head, settled things down and just, did what we needed to do to get through. And it seems like we've turned a corner now, although we have been pretty good against them away from home in recent seasons, which is always, it's good to see. Hopefully that means that we can do it again at home when it comes down to it. But I really think we are the better of the two teams. That might come back to bite me. We'll wait and see. But I genuinely do think that at the moment. And you can tell their fans aren't happy. They want the manager gone. They're not happy with the situation at the moment over there. So that's all the better for me, to be honest.
Absolutely. And of course, we move on to league business next.
Brian, sorry, before we move away from yesterday, we have to have a word for their manager, as Carl so succinctly put it. What a greeting-faced, moany individual he is. You know what I mean? Really. I mean, that thing that somebody sent to me that I put into the group chat, that our interview on their club channel. I mean, we only score off set pieces from the team that only ever scored off set pieces. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, she's just. I mean, Alan, you might know the answer because you were there yesterday. Why was she not wearing her cap? Because she had nothing to throw away. I was wondering, was she going to pull a leg off or something? Because normally, when they lose goals, that the cap comes off, but the cap wasn't on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was quite surprised not to see that staple, her outfit. But it was always nice to see her going absolutely mental, and to hear she's talking such absolute garbage, after a match, and sour grapes. It's absolutely brilliant to see.
I mean, you could argue the first goal wasn't really a set piece. I mean, okay, it was a short corner, but it was a cross. It wasn't like a from an actual corner. So you could argue that wasn't a set piece.
I think you'd be clutching at straws to argue that's not a set piece. It was a corner, and I think the benefit of short corners is taking them quite quickly like that. Just that first touch out to Brogan kind of encourages defence to start moving away from goal, which makes it better for us attacking and harder for him to clear. So, I love him having sour grapes, and I just wish we'd got a dodgy penalty just to really rub salt in the wounds.
Brian, in case you missed it, set pieces are a very important part of football.
Well, I'm just so used to not scoring from them. It's just bizarre than when we do,
Both Rangers teams yesterday scored off corners. I mean, you know what I mean?
Is hell going to freeze over soon? You know what I mean? I honestly thought hell would freeze over before we'd score from a set piece. I really did. I just never thought I'd see it for ages, but it's pleasing to see. I mean, it's as the guys are saying, certainly the women's team score more from set pieces than the men. So maybe the men have to take a leaf out of the women's playbook and do a
Well,
bit more what they're doing.
Yeah, but the women throw corners into danger. See, they throw corners into the 6-yard box on top of goalkeepers and stuff. You know what I mean, that's the difference. And then they mix them up a bit. Like the first goal yesterday, it was a short corner that Brogan didn't mess about. She just went, I'm putting this in the mix. I'm just putting this in to see what happens with it. You know. And then Wilco's free kick. I mean, see if somebody said to take the ball, walk to the goal, and place it where you think's the best place to put it. She couldn't have got it more accurate than she did. I mean, she couldn't have walked up and placed it any better. That was delightful. That was just delightful, absolutely. And I was like, Carrie, I couldn't look watching the telly. I couldn't decide who was going to hit it. I thought if Wilco hits it, it's going through the wall. I just thought she was going to put it through the wall. And I don't know Alan, I don't know if you noticed that at the game, but Liv was causing all sorts of havoc at the side of that wall because there was one of their players standing off the wall to the left-hand side as you look at from the free kick, look towards the goal. And she just kept pulling away, and the lassie didn't have a clue where she was going. And it looked to me like that kind of disrupted their wall a little bit as well. Not that what they did would have made any difference, because Wilco put it just where she needed to put it. But I mean, Liv was causing all sorts of havoc in there at that free kick, which is nice to see.
I didn't actually notice that again, but Liv was an absolute menace to them for 90 minutes. You know, Liv was tremendous. You know, it's one of the best performances Liv's put in all season. You know, coming up to Christmas, she was carrying a bit of a knock, but she's come back absolutely flying, you know, and it was absolutely brilliant to see. And the players we've brought in, you know, are really buying into how much it means to beat them. You know, they're buying into just how many dirty tricks they'll pull to try and win games and get one over on us. So it's really good to see our players really growing to know how much these games mean.
Yeah. I mean,
just look at how they celebrated the goals.
Yes, certainly. I mean, Liv got player of the match yesterday as well, which was, you couldn't really argue with that, could you? She pretty much covered every blade of AstroTurf.
I thought you were going to say grass then. I was going to argue about that. She did, and she always does, to be fair to her, when she's fully fit. Liv is a real asset to us. So the fact that we managed to keep her is a real acquisition. It's just beautiful. She's really bought in, and especially with the likes of Chelsea and beside her, but really anybody in that midfield. I won't single anyone out. Anyone in that midfield is pretty good to what we need to do, and you win the battles in the midfield, you win games like that. Obviously, it came off of 2 set pieces, so to speak, but we just weren't giving them a minute to breathe. They weren't getting a chance, bar a couple of occasions where they managed to get the ball forward past the midfield. They weren't able to do anything. It was frustrating them, and then they just resort to pulling folk and kicking folk and doing what they need to do, which really just makes them more annoyed. And we didn't buy it. We didn't get sucked into it this time, where I think before we've been guilty of getting sucked into it. So it's good to see that Liv's really bought in, and everyone else, you can see if you watch the free kick back, Kathy laughs in the goalkeeper's face, which was a particular highlight for me watching it back.
You like that little bits of shithousery, don't you?
I do. Oh, I love it. That's what it's about. Absolutely.
So yes, but we're back to league stuff this weekend. With the league sort of round, the fixtures kick off on the Friday. It's Celtic versus Hearts Wolf. That'll be a very interesting game, won't it?
It will, particularly the way both teams are playing. I mean, Hearts have, of course, all the top 3 teams, if you want to still put it that way, although the top 3 is now probably becoming the top 4 because of, possibly the top 5 because of Hearts and Hibs. Yeah, I mean, I think they took 2 points off Celtic early in the season as well. I think I'm remembering that right. You know what I mean? They've certainly caused us problems. Hearts are a decent side. I mean, they say they got a good one yesterday. With the greatest respect, they were only playing Montrose. But I mean, Bailey Hutchinson got a hat trick, so she's rattling in the goals. So she did well with Aberdeen last year, then signed for Hearts. So she's fairly rattling in the goals for them. So yeah, I think Hearts could probably get something from that. And it's interesting that the BBC have decided they're covering a couple of games on Friday nights.
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, from my spectating the games live point of view, none of them are involving us because Friday nights are a nightmare for me. Having said that, right now Sundays are a nightmare for me, but that's just the way it is. We won't go down that well-trodden path.
No, absolutely. And then the rest of the league fixtures kick off on the Sunday, the 26th. It's Partick versus Dundee United. We are visiting Spartans. Aberdeen at home to Queen's Park. Is it Queen's Park? Yep, Queen's Park. Montrose are at home to Motherwell, and then Hibernian are at home to Glasgow City. Now, Car, that game live on the telly on the Sunday will be even more interesting because obviously Hibs are in the final of the League Cup against us. Glasgow are above us in the league, so that'll be an interesting game, won't it?
It will if Hibs show up like they've shown up against us this season, because they have in recent seasons beaten Glasgow City. They've put them out of cups and whatnot, so there is every chance that they could potentially do the same thing. It just depends what kind of team shows up, but they obviously did quite well yesterday against obviously Aberdeen, so it wasn't, you expected more, to be honest. It was only 3-0, so I expected that to be a real hammering, so fair play to Aberdeen for that. But yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting, and if a draw or a Hibs win wouldn't be too bad for us, I suppose.
Absolutely. And Alan, we're away to Spartans, so would you envisage just a routine win there?
I expect Spartans will make us work hard for it. They're always well organised and well drilled, but I'd expect us to go there and put on a performance. We'll be flying after yesterday, another final to look forward to, and I think the players all know there's no margin for error in the league now. We're in the Glasgow City game a point ahead and find ourselves up 2 games later, 5 behind. So the players know there's no room for slip-ups, and I think they'll put the foot down from this point because, as Will says, it's pretty much a top 5 now. So once we go into the post-split fixtures, they're all going to be big games. There's not going to be, maybe in years past, there's been a couple of easier games. And where it's Partick or Marvel that make up the top 6, they're building and improving their squads. So there's no margin for error. We need to take games like Spartans and take the opportunity to go out and pull in performance and get a big score.
Yes, certainly do. And of course, Car, news this week, obviously, that Mason Hope was released from the club. I dare say, was that an expected sort of decision, do you think?
For me, no. I just assumed it should just stay out on loan and then potentially next season go back out on loan, or depending on what Joe and whoever the assistant that comes in is values are at, depending if we keep Lizzie or if what happens that way, we'd have another winger that could step in. But obviously not to be. Something's happened that we either want to clear out some space to potentially bring someone else in, as Alan said on our podcast, or it just wasn't working out and they thought she needed to go somewhere else to get more experience and further her career that way. Don't know where she's going. It's not been announced anywhere. I assumed Motherwell would just take her, but it's not been announced anywhere, so we'll wait and see where she goes. But wish her all the best. She really is a talented young player, so it is a bit gutting that we've lost another young one, but sometimes that happens, like Leah Eddy, and you bring them back a few years later and they're godsend to you, so hopefully that's the case here.
Yeah. Brian, I was hoping to get the inside scoop on that yesterday, but unfortunately I didn't bump into her grandfather at the game, so I'm not sure if he was down. I bumped into his 2 mates and he wasn't with them, so I don't think he was down. So I couldn't get the inside scoop, unfortunately, but I'll keep trying.
You never give up, do you? You never give up.
It's not what you know.
Correct, absolutely. And Alan, Laura, whoever wants to tackle this one, I mentioned for Laura, she's still banging in goals for Motherwell. You can envisage her being very, very much, firmly in the first team thoughts for next season. I would imagine there's no option for a loan next year, surely.
No, you would like to think not, but if Motherwell do make the top 6, Laura Better can still have an impact on us winning the title.
Mm-hmm.
That would be lovely to see. It would be poetic. If Laura's at Motherwell and actually helps us win the title. But Paul's right. Laura's having a great season at Motherwell. Laura's probably she's very disappointed to be at loan. I think she wanted to be part of the squad this season, and she was to start with. I think we all wanted that, but when our 5 strikers on the books, the easy option was to send Laura out and loan. And Laura Berry at this point in our development needs to play games, and she's playing games at Motherwell. They're a really good setup at Motherwell, good team, good coaches. So she's got to keep learning and developing there, and she's still been at least part-time training at Auchenhowie, so she's still around the building, and she's going to score. She might make a fair dent in catching Katie Wilkinson in the scoring charts.
Yes. And of course, Carl, we got a Christmas present. Laura signed a new deal. I bet that was the best Christmas present you had all Christmas, was it?
Oh, absolutely was. No disrespect to anybody that bought me Christmas presents, but it's one of the best things that could have happened. They really just waited till that moment to just make everybody's days a bit brighter. But you can see that she's, going to be one of our strikers, and you want that to happen next season. We all thought it'd happen this season, but wasn't to be. But Alan says she needs to get some more experience. She seems to have developed quite a lot, even in the last 6 months at Motherwell. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. I assume next season we'll have to get a couple of strikers off the books to provide her the time and game time that she'll need.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's what the case will be. But, it's just fantastic we've got her tied down. If somebody down south comes in for her, we get a bit of money for her that way. If not, we get to enjoy her for the next couple of seasons and see where that takes us.
Absolutely. But as Carl's saying there, Wolf, there will have to be a little bit of reshuffle up in the top end of the pitch. Obviously, with Laura signing a chunky long-term contract.
Yeah, but that's for the summer. I mean, I can't see anybody leaving this window. Although
No.
I'm still waiting for because when Joe's press conference on Friday, she said I think it was on Friday. She said that they were close to bringing somebody in. If I think I heard her saying that. So I'll be interested to see who that is. She's also said she was close to bringing in an assistant manager as well. We're still waiting for that because that was Mike and under him yesterday when she got sent to the stand. Was who's going to be in charge of the team in the dugout? You know what I mean? I had visions of Jodie sticking a big jacket on and conducting the choir. So to speak, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I never thought of that actually. Of course, manager getting sent off. There wasn't an assistant manager. Who on earth? Who was running things on the touchline?
Craig McPherson was there, so he took charge.
Yeah, I just totally forgot about that. I totally forgot that there was the situation where the manager gets sent off and there's no assistant. You're thinking, who's going to take things from here? But thankfully, that didn't happen. But that is us, folks. We will be back next Monday.
Brian, sorry, if we can just rewind a little bit to what we were talking about there with and I know it's for the summer, it's not for the winter, but Paul asking the question, so all we can do is ask the question: what striker do you think will leave next summer? JD straight in, as JD tends to be. The guys are never shy to put their opinions in.
Yeah.
He thinks Jane Ross be most likely to leave because she's getting the least game time. Then Kirsty Howard, I think they'd be the most likely to go first. Alan, Carl, what do you think?
I think probably missing off that list is Sarah Ewens, who's struggled to get game time. She's obviously come back for a long injury layoff. I'm not convinced that she'll sign another deal and stay on for another year. Jane, quite probably won't. But we'll see come the summer. There's a lot of football to be played. Jane's showing when she does come on, she'll contribute. I thought Jane came on and had a really good showing yesterday. We didn't mention many of the subs, but Jane was a danger, and she'll continue to be a danger. But we can't give enough game time to 6 strikers, so something definitely has to give. And you certainly don't want to be losing Kate Wilkinson or Rio Hardy.
No.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think Sarah Ewens is probably top of that list. I'm not saying I want rid of Kirsty Howe, but I would love her to get an offer from down south to go and shine and show her abilities in a team that will play her as a lone striker or in a pair and get regular, every week playing consistently, because she's got that ability. And it is kind of sad to see her kind of reverted back to almost that third striker and behind a lot of the time or coming off the bench when she is so much better than that at times. But with Wilco and Rio, you can't really grudge Joe that when you've got players like that are scoring every week. So I would love her to get, abroad or down south or something to get a contract like that instead of her just kind of sitting there not getting played. But it probably will be Sarah Ewens that will go first. Jane, I think, has got another season in her and potentially then go into coaching. I'd love her to be part of our coaching setup in a few years if that was possible. But yeah, I think realistically, unless Wilco or Rio get an offer from somewhere else and they decide, like Rachel Rowe did, to leave, but God forbid, I hope that doesn't happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you're both right. I think there's a natural progression there where lack of game time, injuries might play a part. You just don't know. The manager obviously has her own sort of ideas and thoughts and things, so we'll just have to hold tight and wait and see where things land. But that is us for this Monday evening. Thank you very much for all joining us. We're here every Monday night if they've played the weekend or the week during the week before. We either cover the 2 games or the 1 game, however many it is. We're here every Monday at 6:30. Join us every week. My thanks to Up Wolf.
Always a pleasure, Brian. Nice of you to finally join us when you got all your ducks in a row earlier on.
Yes, thank you. Car, thank you for joining us.
Thanks. Sorry I was late again.
Don't worry. Alan, double dunter for us today, but thank you again.
Aye, always a pleasure, even if it is twice in one day.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe, folks, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or X, sorry, should I call it? And
No,
so,
you shouldn't. Twitter.
I should call it X, yes, I better, yes, because Elon Musk will be after me, so I better watch it. But thank you for joining us all, folks, on the Women's Rangers Rabble Show, and we'll see you again next Monday.